shit time, okay? And it was embarrassing. And, losing all your money is all that. But maybe it was necessary.
There's a moment in sport when the crowd knows something before the scoreboard does. You can't manufacture it, you can't schedule it, and you definitely can't fake it. That moment arrived at the Caja Magica in Madrid, and it didn't come with a press conference. It came through a ticket system. A 20-year-old Filipino girl, ranked 44th in the world, struggling through her worst clay stretch in years, and somehow, every single seat around her match was gone. Not Aryna Sabalenka's session, not Coco Gauff's court, hers. And when Boris Becker, a man who has seen absolutely everything this sport has ever produced, heard those numbers, he went quiet. That silence is the story. Let me tell you who Alex is, where she's been, and why what's happening in Madrid right now might be the beginning of something none of us are fully ready for. Alex first showed up on serious tennis radar in 2022, and she didn't tiptoe onto the scene. She walked through the front door. US Open girls singles, final, champion, a Filipino kid, trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy, winning on one of the biggest junior stages the sport has. Back in Manila, the celebrations weren't polite. They weren't modest, little gatherings in living rooms. They were the kind of celebrations you throw when something generational just happened, when a whole country looks at a teenager and thinks, finally, that's us on that court. And that word followed her everywhere after that. Generational. It's a word that can break a young player before they ever really get started. The weight of an entire nation's hope sitting on a 19-year-old's shoulders while she's still trying to figure out how the professional tour actually works. Alex didn't buckle. She kept working. By 2025, she had clawed her way into the top 30, and then came Miami. The Miami Open semifinal run that year was the moment the wider tennis world stopped treating her as an interesting footnote and started paying actual attention. She was beating players ranked above her, consistently, in big moments, on big courts. And it wasn't scrappy survival tennis either. She was dictating, taking the ball early, hitting through rallies before opponents could settle, playing with a fearlessness that you usually only see from players who've already won majors. The Filipino diaspora across the United States turned those Miami sessions into something else entirely. Flags in the stands, noise levels that people who cover tennis for a living said they hadn't heard around a non-seeded player in years. There were people in those crowds who had never watched a WTA match before in their lives. They were there for her. Then clay arrived, and everything got hard. Not in a dramatic collapse kind of way, in a quiet, grinding, technically complicated kind of way. Because Alex's game is built on pace. She wants the rally short. She wants to take time away from her opponent, hit through the court, finish the point before it becomes a war of attrition. Clay doesn't let her do that. Clay slows the ball down, gives it air, rewards the player who can grind through 8, 9, 10 ball exchanges without forcing anything. Those are not naturally her weapons. And look, the Nadal Academy trained her on clay for years. She knows the surface, but knowing a surface in training and mastering it at the WTA level against players who have built entire careers on it, that's a completely different challenge. 7 tournaments on clay, 3 wins from 10 matches. That's the record she's carrying into Madrid. Stuttgart last week was genuinely difficult to watch if you've been following her closely. Leylah Fernandez, a player Alex has history with, took her apart. 1-4. Clean, efficient, not even close. The week before that in Linz, Yelena Ostapenko in the second round. Gone again. 2 tournaments, 2 early exits, the same surface problems showing up the same way. So by every rational metric, the conversation heading into Madrid should have been about survival. Can she get through the first round? Will the qualifier across the net catch her cold? Will the clay just keep exposing the same gaps it's been exposing all spring? Instead, the conversation became about tickets. Every seat sold out. And that's when Boris Becker entered this story in a way that goes well beyond a headline. Because here's who Becker is in context. He didn't just play tennis. He won Wimbledon at 17 when nobody thought he could. He coached Novak Djokovic from 2013 to 2016, 3 of the most dominant years any player has produced in the modern era. 6 Grand Slam titles in that 3-year window. Becker was inside that machine, close enough to understand what actual elite performance looks and feels like, not from the broadcast booth, but from the bench. He knows the difference between a player who generates noise and a player who generates something genuinely difficult to quantify and genuinely dangerous to dismiss. When someone with that background stops and pays attention to a 44th ranked player with a losing clay record, that pause is worth examining. And there's a broader conversation happening inside the sport right now that makes Alex's story feel even larger than it already is. Women's tennis has been producing elite athletes at a remarkable rate. The rankings are deep. The level has never been higher. But the sport has been searching for its next crossover star. The player who doesn't just dominate the rankings, but transcends them. The one who pulls in casual sports fans, who makes neutral crowds pick a side, who fills arenas based on presence rather than seeding. Serena Williams was the last player who did that completely and on a global scale. Since she retired, the sport has had genuine stars. But that singular figure who makes someone who doesn't follow tennis stop and watch, that seat has been empty. People who study these things professionally have been watching Alex as a candidate for that role, not because of her current ranking, because of what she produces in rooms, because of what Miami 2025 showed about the kind of energy she generates when the moment gets big enough. And now that same energy is showing up in Madrid, on clay, on the surface that has been her most difficult, on the surface where her record says she shouldn't be generating this kind of response. That's what makes serious analysts genuinely curious rather than just entertained, because fan energy that crosses oceans and time zones and surfaces doesn't get manufactured. It either exists or it doesn't. And the fact that it's here in April in a clay tournament tells you something real about what people believe is coming from her. Her draw isn't impossible. The qualifier in round 1 is the kind of match she should handle if her game finds any rhythm at all. Win that, and she gets Elise Mertens. Mertens beat her badly back in 2023, 7-5 and 6. But that match happened when Alex was ranked 196th and still learning what the professional tour required of her. That's not the same player. Further into the draw, there's Alexandrova. There's Machova, there's Kvitova as a former world #1 bringing a serve and a presence that tests everyone regardless of surface. None of those matchups are easy, but none of them are unreachable either. What they require is for Alex to find something on clay this week that she hasn't found yet this season. That's the tension the crowd inside that stadium is actually responding to. Not certainty, tension. The possibility that the record gets rewritten. The possibility that this is the week the clay game finally clicks. And here's what the people who've watched her longest have learned about Alex. She doesn't shrink when the pressure goes up. Miami proved that. When the moment gets heavy, she actually seems to expand into it. Her shot selection gets cleaner. Her movement sharpens. That fearlessness that defines her best tennis. It shows up most reliably when the stakes are highest. Clay just hasn't seen that version of her yet at this level. That's the open question this tournament is carrying, and it's a legitimate one. The Nadal Academy Foundation is real. The technique is there. Underneath the surface struggles, the coaches who work closest with her believe the clay game is coming. What's been missing is a tournament where the first match goes smoothly enough to build confidence into the second round, and the second match builds enough to carry into the third. Clay rewards confidence in a compounding way. Once you find your rhythm on it, wins start feeling more natural even as the opponents get harder. Alex hasn't had that compounding week yet at the WTA level. Madrid could be the week, or Madrid could be another early exit that sends her to Roland Garros in May, still looking for answers. Both outcomes are genuinely possible. That's exactly why every seat is sold, and exactly why Boris Becker stopped and paid attention. The Filipino fans who have traveled to Madrid, who were up at 2 in the morning in Manila to buy those tickets, who filled those group chats and Twitter threads and WhatsApp chains with match details and travel logistics, they're not there for a feel-good narrative. They've been on this ride for 4 years. They watched the junior title. They watched the early professional struggles. They watched the ranking climb that looked improbable from the outside and inevitable from the inside. Once you understood how she works and how she competes, they've learned to trust what they feel when they watch her, even when the numbers say something different. And right now, what they feel in Madrid, loudly, in a stadium that was never supposed to be this full for this match, is that this week is different. Becker won Wimbledon at 17 when the record didn't suggest he could. He knows from personal experience what it looks like when a player is operating on something the statistics haven't learned to measure yet. That's why he went quiet. The clay is waiting. The crowd is already there. And somewhere between the first point of round 1 and whatever this tournament becomes, Alex's story is about to take its next turn.